Okay. Thank you. So you're hearing that we're going to record the session. I'm going to post the video and also any supplemental materials to our website. You can also check out our previous sessions there. I'm going to stop sharing now and post our website.
So hi, everyone. Thanks again for coming to the session. Really excited to be here with all of you and to give you this discussion on Prezi. And my name is Ray Pan, pronouns are he and him, and I am an instruction and research librarian at the Alder Graduate School of Education, which is in the Bay Area, a teacher's education program. I'm a solo librarian supporting teachers as well as education faculty and graduate students who are training to be teachers. And so this presentation is looking at how to use Prezi. And I think you might find it quite interesting, the way we all know that Prezi is set up traditionally. It has a lot of movements. So I will preface that if you are sensitive to motion, I would advise you that you may want to maybe possibly step out of the room. It's not that there's going to be a lot of motions. It's not a roller coaster presentation, but there will be some motions here. And I wanted to just caution people and be mindful and sensitive to that as I'm experimenting. The other thing that you'll notice is that there are no transcripts or ways to put in that accessibility that's needed. So we're gonna get into the good and not so good stuff about this screen. Now, if you're able to see me, you could put me and pin me on the screen, and then we can sort of like follow along. And I hope this is gonna work out because I am actually excited to see what people are thinking about. Oh my gosh. So first is that I'm not an expert in using this video. I'm also learning, right? So a question for all of you, if you want to raise your hand in the Zoom box feature at the bottom where the participant is, have you used Prezi videos before? And it's not this feature. So are there, let's see what people are saying. If you could just do a yes or a no, it's a green button. Okay, I see a lot of people saying no. Okay, a couple of people saying yes. Great, I figure if you also want to type in the chat box, you're welcome to do that. Great. So yes, a lot of people have some familiarity, right? Some background with Prezi. But this is a new feature that came out, I believe, around March, around that springtime when we're all working from home and scrambling to teach remotely. And what's great is that when you have this sort of interaction, it gives you a visual appeal, right? It gives you that sense of, wow, this is really cool at the first go. And what I'm going to be doing is exploring more of the in-depth issues here. So obviously you can use this Prezi video. You have to download it as a desktop feature. So it's not the web browser that you're used to seeing, and then it kind of moves around. But you can also upload PowerPoint as well as Prezi video, so existing ones, and then put it into your presentation. It does require some sort of moving back and forth. You have to have an account. There is an upgrade version, which I think has a lot more features. I'm only using the free version right now. What's great is that you're kind of hands-free, and if you have a clicker, you can sort of move it as you go, right? And it's really fun in that sense that you can sort of explain things in a more dynamic way. Now, the not so good thing is if you use things on PDF or Google Slide or Keyword, I believe it's Keynote actually, it doesn't work that well. You have to stick with either PowerPoint or the Prezi videos. And you can also have pictures that go in depth. So if you wanted to show a graphic, and I'm going to do a demonstration like of a presentation I did with the graduate students, so you get to see. But I just want to set out the logistics that what I can share. It could kind of move back and forth. And with the graphics, you can get more in depth. Now, if you wanted to just center yourself, you can do that as well, right? And there's that feature. But then you can move back into the slideshow and then keep moving. So the great thing is it keeps viewers focused on the message. If you have a recorded video, you can put this in, and it's sort of like you're on broadcast, right? Like on a morning show or some sort of newscast, and sort of like give that feature, that presentation, and add some really great graphics to it. Now, the one thing that isn't so great is that when you add the graphics, you can't necessarily add the source or the credit, because you could do it in that blur, but it takes up space and then you can't like add your message. So there's some pros and cons. I have some ideas on how to resolve that. You would do a screenshot with the closed captioning or the credit, and then it would show at the bottom, but it would be really tiny unless you did a full screen like this, right? And these images came from Prezi. So I believe they're in some ways Creative Commons licensed already, freely used. Now, you can also use this template. There are many other ones that we'll explore. This one is sort of like looking at the below the surface and digging deep on the issue. So if you have if you wanted to do this, I had a chat with a colleague who's a children's librarian. You can also bring in props like a sea turtle, right? You're like, oh, we're going under the sea, kind of like just something tacky or gimmicky. But at this point, who's really like caring, right? A lot of people are turning off their cameras and just listening and watching. So, but the whole point is you dive deeper into the issue, metaphorically speaking, right? And if you could see here, it's another great way to showcase data presentations. So if you have a clicker, like what I've said, and stand back, you can really give that effect. Now, if you have a Zoom background that you want to use, I don't think it will work that well. So you're going to have to compromise between using this Prezi background or the Zoom background. And now we're going to move on to some other problems, some of the problems that I have encountered and have shared earlier. So this includes texts are limited, like the more you type, the smaller the text gets. Lots of updates from time to time. If you want to update your or use your Prezi to showcase an upcoming presentation, do it a day in advance. There will be some updates on the desktop, and it is quite frequent because it is a new product. It will be up for a lot of updates, at least for the Mac and Apple that I'm using. I'm not sure about PC. It will probably be the same. Now, the Zoom feature Connect. So this time it worked. What happened earlier was that I came into the Zoom meeting and then I had to step out and then I had to reconnect again. So this does happen from time to time, and it might be a challenge. So you have to have your meeting link notes set up, everything ready to go, and then connect. And then the other logistic is what I had described earlier, which is I might not be centered in your screen unless you actually put the pin, right? And so I can't see what you're seeing right now. And I hope it's not just galleries, but you can actually see me, as a full screen, as if I'm screen sharing. And that's the other thing. You can't necessarily screen share because it would be, creating a lot of distractions. But the other thing with this connection is that the Prezi also works through Microsoft Teams. And I believe some other ones, not Google Hangout I saw, but I'm gonna have to check again. But there's some labels that we can also look at. And of course, it's not good if you are sensitive to motion. So I try not to move the screen, as you could tell. I try to station for at least a minute or so, because I have seen some videos where people do use it, and it's sort of like a revolving door. And if you are sensitive to that, it might not be the best for your viewers. It's also really challenging because if you have students and you're not sure if they're sensitive, you might want to preface it, or even if you wanted to do a survey, you could even do that just to see. But for the most part, if you're mindful of not moving it too much, I think it might be a good way to manage the viewing. Oh,
can I ask a question real quick? Have you ever done this with people on phones?
That's a good question, and no. So this is another drawback. It's only for people who have access to the Zoom online computer. Okay. So yeah, if you have people coming on the phone, obviously they're not going to see this unless they're calling in and they're like watching on Zoom, because there's some audio issues. The other thing that I want to mention is there are no closed captioning provided unless it's within Zoom or, as I heard earlier, Google Hangout, which I believe you could still do a screen share, which might work in that sense. But if you're expecting to really provide that accessibility, this kind of platform, I believe, will be kind of tricky to use. What's great is that if you could record it and then create the transcription or the closed captioning after in your video. So on YouTube, they have auto sync, or if you want to do it manually, you could do that. So in some ways you could do it, but live captioning, it probably, I would say, I would give it an F. It just fails from there. Now we're gonna take some minute here to look at some of the demos, right? And I see a lot of conversations in the chat, and we're gonna get into that soon. So let's let me stop sharing this point. So actually I will have to, oh, how does this work? I wonder if I could do both. Because this is interesting, because I have another Zoom I wanted to share. So I might need to hop off. See, this is the issue here. Like you can't change slides, or you can't even share because you're kind of stuck in the center. Well, actually, maybe I could do this. Oh, let's see. I don't have access to share screening. If someone can give me access to that. Oh, okay, great, thanks. So let me see if it works. If I could share my screen and do this. Oh, okay, so it doesn't allow me to screen share. So that's something I'm learning right now. So if you're having this Prezi setup, obviously you can't screen share because you're kind of sharing this graphic thing. So what I will need to do is I will need to step out and come back in. Unfortunately, that is another pain point, and I apologize, folks, that this is a part of the learning process. I will be in and out for just a second.
What is that? What were you unable to do that you're able to do now since you came back in?
Screen share.
Okay. So it's not easy to toggle between the Prezi video sharing within Prezi overlaid in Zoom and just using basic Zoom screen share. Okay, right. Thank you for that clarifying. Okay.
No, you're good. Yeah. So I think it's the best thing that works really well is a asynchronous meeting. So if you're recording it and then you kind of show it, but if it's sort of a presentation, right, without that demo, the database demos that all of us are comfortable and familiar using, where you have to do a screen share, then that gets tricky. But I wanted to show you like what I've done alternatively, which you could see my screen right here at my desktop. And I'm gonna just move this over. So there's this chat box. I don't know if you can see that. Turn this off. This I think is kind of, here it is. Now here's what, when you do a screen share, it kind of comes off like this. Well, one strategy I have used to make this work is do an advanced screen share. So just set the parameters of the bar. So I'm gonna stop sharing again, and I'm gonna share one more time. And I'm going to do advance, and I'm going to do portion of the screen, and it will be just within this presentation. So when this is the desktop version, right, you're seeing right now, that's not connected to Zoom, what you saw earlier. So I'm going to try to minimize this as much as I can, so you can just see. I guess this is probably pretty good then. So can you see my screen with this action research session?
Yes.
Yes, thanks. Now, with that being said, you can, there's an arrow button, which I was trying to skip over. And then this is what I've used, right? So like I'm standing right here, and it's, and the images is on the other side. Now the issue is the text can get really small, and it only scrolls one way. I think if you get the premium upgrade, you can do like all different directions, right? So, but for this, we had used this for a synchronous class. So this is the weird part. It's not where everyone is on Zoom. It's me, I am on Zoom, but they were meeting in person. So this is prior to COVID-19, where they were all together in a classroom in their seminar. And I was zooming in because they were either in somewhere in LA where I'm not, I couldn't get to, or Sacramento, somewhere where they meet regularly as a cohort. And so we had a discussion where they had a huge projector and they could see my screen. And then this is what I did. And it works really well because then you're really just sharing information and then talking about the important ideas, graphics, images that you want to share, and then stop sharing, right? And then go into the screen share. So what I did before was I did a Zoom screen share within the Prezi, which you can't really do. So I think there's a lot of little tools here, and I'll just open this up a little bit more, and then we'll get into Q&A because I'm sure there's a lot of questions about this. Okay, let me go back. Okay, so you can see this is the Prezi format when you have the desktop, and then you have the slides here like any other slide deck you're trying to do, and then they have the images here and then PowerPoint. Now, this is the part that's confusing. When you do video conference, right? Can you see this? Choose an app for your video conference. Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Oh, so they do have Google Meets. Okay, they didn't have it before. So they have these different features and you could try to connect. Now, when you choose to connect, like on Zoom, you have to provide this information. But if you're already on Zoom, you can't do that. You have to be out. You know, you have to be coming in as a new person. Otherwise, I had done this before for an all staff report thing, and it created a lot of busy images. So you want to come in with the information and then sign in. But if you want to share your screen later, you have to probably leave and come back. So it is not the best kind of system to use. But if you're just recording like any other video, it's a good way to do so. And also, like I said, there's all this feature and stuff. So with that being said, I want to be mindful of the time and the questions and comments people have. So I'll stop right here.
One question is, what is the difference between the Prezi video screen sharing you just did since signing back in versus your first one?
So the first one is, it was Prezi's embedded in Zoom as opposed to screen sharing. The second one I did was screen sharing, and I set the parameters. And it's screen sharing your desktop as opposed to the Prezi that's built in. I think the problem is when you do the Prezi that's built in, you can't do screen sharing, right? And there's some challenges there. With the other one, you have to set the parameters, and then if you want to show library webpage and stuff like that, you can do that too. So I've often used the latter, but the former was also like a good way to do like an introduction and just to see how it will work.
So as you said, the second option is better?
It's not ideal. I think everyone should try the first one, you know, because it's just like the one that's all set up where you have the images flying in seamlessly. But I think if you do the share screen, it centers your presentation. So it's like, you know, you're share screening your PowerPoint, right? Or slide, but it focuses on that Prezi kind of setup. It requires some maneuvering.
I don't know if this is a question, but can Ray screen share to demo how to access Prezi within Zoom?
Yes, it was in the latter. So if I did it right here, this is the beginning part, right? Like where you could sign in, and then I'm going to import the second one. Let's see. Oh, I wonder if it's sharing. Well, let me cancel this. Has stopped. Oh, okay. Let me try this again. Desktop one. Okay. Can you see my screen? And then the frame one?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is where you do the video conference, and then that's where you embed the Prezi in. And this is where it creates problems. Like I can't embed right now because I'm already in the room. So you have to be out of the room. So it's really complicated as I'm explaining it, or I'm not explaining it clearly, because it's like there's all these little steps, and then you have to make sure that you time yourself in. It's not easy to use. I've used it maybe about 5 or 6 presentations, and I've been careful, right, not to use it too many times because it has all these other issues that I laid out earlier.
Okay, so to try to clarify, it seems like if you're going to do it that way, you start with the Prezi application on your desktop, you create your template, and then you eventually say, I want to embed it into Zoom, I believe. But there we go. Choose the app. That's when you choose Zoom. And this all must be done before the Zoom is opened. And you're recommending that would be about a day before because there's so many updates. And after that, you can just run your Zoom and the cool overlay is going to happen.
Yep. The updates happen not necessarily when you're sharing the video, but just the Zoom, the Prezi platform itself. So yeah, you want the meeting ID number or the link, put it in. So if I choose Zoom right here, you need this information. Otherwise, if you're starting the meeting, then you could start it. And then like what you saw earlier. I can't do this now because
I get it.
Oh, yeah.
So we can't see any option for Prezi within Zoom. You're always going to start with a Prezi application, really, which
Right.
is fine. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Has anyone else tried this before?
No, this is the first time I'm seeing anything like
Okay.
this. It's so cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I do a lot. Like with the all staff update, it was really cool because it was a lot of like data kind of stuff, like usage assessment, and then it created a lot of tension. Like people were focused because they got to see me presenting, but also the graphs, the charts, like they felt like it was better than just a typical, you know, PDF or a PowerPoint kind of thing, where this was a little more dynamic to view.
Yeah, very much so. This is a question, I guess, kind of more on a side note. How do you keep up with all of this technology? Are you just always looking? This is like a habit, not a habit, but a hobby?
Is it me or everyone?
You and anyone else, I guess.
I think for me, I like to try different technologies because there's so many applications that might not have occurred to me before. And it's a good way to introduce to the faculty. So the faculty have been exploring this option, but as I laid out all these sort of logistics, I think they've been a little hesitant because they want to make sure that they have it all correct. But from my experience, I look at things on social media, I see what people are doing, and I try to do something like where it's, you know, engaging and different.
Okay. I guess I'm kind of curious because you just seem to be everywhere. You're like the Apollo president, you're like the Kala president.
Not yet, yeah.
Not yet, but or incoming, I guess. You know, you just got your doctorate, like you're just everywhere and getting so much done. I'm jealous.
I see some other questions.
I do. Sorry if you covered this, but can you record this for an asynchronous video?
Yeah, you can. When you first start, so I'm gonna just share my screen again. And like right here, I think when you start here, you can choose your template. Like there are other ones, right? You can explore. Oh, dismiss the upgrade. And let's say you wanted this one. Choose your content next. Make some slides here. You have some notes here as well. But then afterwards, you could click record, right? And if I click record, it's gonna start recording like any other slideshow. And then you kind of like say, okay, done recording, and then it will generate the video, and then you could save it and upload it. So the not so good thing is obviously the logo, but if you have the premium version, you could get rid of it, I'm sure, and, you know, customize it a little bit and have more features.
Have you gotten any feedback from students or maybe colleagues?
Yeah, they really like it very much. I think it's very different. The problem is, as I laid out, we want to include like live captioning, or we want it to be sensitive to motion sensitivity kind of thing. And so, but for the most part, it's fun to them, you know, especially if they're trying to process a lot of information, but you're sort of focused. As I told them, you have to focus on the big picture, those core ideas, because you only have so much real estate to put in your presentation. It's not like the full text thing you can do. So a lot of them have said this was innovative, different, and fun. With the students, they're trying to experiment it with their students. So they are graduate students, but they are also teachers in training, pre-service teachers. And so they're also experimenting. And I have to say, like all of us, teaching online, being online all the time, it gets exhausting. And so for them, it's also, you know, trying it out and learning how to teach better online. So it's interesting. And I haven't really followed up to see if they applied it, but I'm sure they've looked into it in some ways. I do know that there are some other applications similar to Prezi. I had even downloaded it. Let me see if I have it in here. I wasn't planning to show it because I hadn't tried it. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's this new app called and like the sound of agreement.
It's like the Saturday Night Live, that one portion.
Yes. Yep. See, look, another update, right? This does a lot of updates. It's free. It's on beta mode right now. So I'm going to skip this version and I'll show you. See, it's kind of like, ooh, kind of like you see yourself in the back, or you could say, you know, I don't know if I'm standing in the right way. I can't see what you're seeing, but the idea is you can use this sort of like as an anchor, right? You're talking about today's news, and they have videos embedded in, which I haven't tried yet. So I'm
Is
gonna
Alder
stop.
predominantly online?
Yeah, we're an online program, master's program. Yep.
Maybe I missed this, but is this a free version of Prezi?
Yeah, this is the free version.
And what's the difference between Prezi Video and Prezi Presentation Tool?
Prezi Video is what you see, all these little things, all these bubbles around me. Not my icon, but my screen. The Prezi presentation is the traditional one, where it kind of moves around and you're not in the video or in the presentation.
Good to know. When you are recording, you will be able to zoom in for a certain page or photo?
Yes, so let me show you again. It's you kind of have to time it and prepare in advance, right? Like any presentation we do, because it is something you want to make sure you get right. So if you were to share this, let's see here. Oh, I think, yeah, this is so cancel, dismiss. So you can sort of zoom in, right? Or you can just kind of go back, like what I did before. So like I feel like, can I hide? Yeah, I can kind of hide behind the thing, the squirrel. So that's sort of a interesting way. And if you have graphics you want to show, like I said, you can zoom in. You just have to make sure you click the right one. And then if you want to stop it, you can kind of fade it away.
And does video, or yeah, I guess Prezi Video, some of it requires a full subscription for the full services. Are there things that you're missing that you would love to have?
I think it would be great if they had some sort of like live captioning, like we discussed, for or a transcription at the end, if it was recorded. Don't think it provides that.
Is that available in the paid version? Do you know?
I'm not quite sure. I haven't explored the paid version, but if anyone does, please feel free to report back. That would be good to know. It's still a beta version. I mean, not beta version, but it's still like new in the sense of it gets a lot of updates, and that's kind of a little bit frustrating if you're about to present in like 5 minutes and you didn't realize, oh, they need to be updated for 10 minutes. That kind of wouldn't be helpful. So if it could do like routinely updates in a way that, on a weekend, possibly weekend evening, if it could figure that AI thing, the algorithms correctly, then it wouldn't be as disruptive.
This is more of a comment. It's good in a way to have to limit the amount of text on a screen. Agreed.
Yeah. Oh, you agree? Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So yeah, I had done this before, and it's really cool because one of the graphics I wanted to show was this, diversity in children's books and the lack of representation. And you could see the different numbers here. And this one was done by, I could see here, I know Dr. Sarah Park-Dahlan was in consultation with an artist. I could expand it here. There we go. By University of Wisconsin, illustrated by David Hoyk. And so it really sends you that sort of impact on a graphic or a chart you're trying to show. And then I could sort of say, oh, look, we're all like shocked by that, but not really, kind of, and it's disturbing. So, and then kind of like have that conversation and then transition to the database demos, right? So I would share screen, the website, or whatever I'm trying to do.
Well, thank you so much for this presentation. I think we all learned a lot. Are there any last questions? Just comments saying thank you so much. Can't wait to try both. Oh, any idea how much? Oh, I thought the question was how much is Prezi, but no.
No, unfortunately, I'm not a rep or anything, but just doing this for fun from time to time. I use other ones, PowerPoint and Keynote. Thanks for your comment, Ray. Oh, Danielle, you're here too. Oh, nice.
Then I guess there's a useful resource on redundancy effect in instructional design.
Oh, sorry, I missed that, Angela.
Oh, there's a comment about a useful resource on redundancy effect in instructional design that
Oh, I
Jeannie is
see.
sharing with us.
Thanks, Jeannie.
Well, with that, I guess we'll wrap up. Thank you so much, Dr. Pun, for coming and sharing all of this with us. We learned quite a bit. For everyone, we will be posting future programs on our website. We'll also be emailing you all. And when this recording is ready, we'll also be emailing you with that as well as a satisfaction survey. So those should all be coming out in one big email sometime within the next week or so, maybe 7 to 10 days, if not earlier. So with that, thank you all for coming. Really appreciate that. And I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your Wednesday and rest of the week.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
I hope you get to try this. All right.